What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon Challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Omega Ruby and today's challenge will be, can I beat Pokemon Omega Ruby Hardcore Nuzlocke using only Ghost type Pokemon? Now I don't know why at the end of December I'm deciding to use Ghost types only. Maybe Ice type would have been fine, but I already done an Ice type video recently, so I actually want to just do a different typing. So Merry Christmas everybody. You're getting a Ghost type video. Anyways, it's gonna be a fun video. It's actually really fun. The rules are for the video is gonna be a hardcore Nuzlocke. Shiny hunt for each of the Pokemon I get. Except my starter, I'm gonna give myself a shiny starter. I can only use Ghost types at the shiny hunt for Ghost types only, and the first Ghost type I find per route is gonna be the Pokemon that I catch on my team and will be on my team. If any of my Pokemon ever faints, they're gonna be dead. There's a death counter on the bottom left, as you can see, and for each gym there's gonna be a level cap where I can face the gym when I'm above that level cap, but when I get into the battle I might gain some XP, but I possibly might go over the level cap, but that should be fine. On top of my videos, as always, each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments, so thanks so much for leaving a comment in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon in my future challenge video, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you're down, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. We're very close, 200 subs away from 40k. If you guys can, please leave a sub. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. Now I'm playing Omega Ruby, so you can't actually find Sableye in this game, so doesn't even make sense, but I have a shiny Sableye as my starter Pokemon. I don't get a Ghost type Pokemon for a very long time, so you're gonna have to see Sableye do a lot of things. Unfortunately enough, Sableye does not look too good as a Pokemon, as I'm going to face off against this trainer in Route 6, where we're gonna start searching for our next Pokemon. However, Sableye got poisoned, and I am running down the clock here. I am one turn away from possibly losing the entire challenge video just from the start, but lucky enough he clutched up and there's no overworld damage anymore for poison damage, so that's looking good for us. We survived that encounter, but we can start searching out in Route 6 to get our next Ghost type Pokemon. Now there's not a Ghost type Pokemon per se in here, but there's a Pokemon that will evolve into a Ghost type Pokemon. We're gonna spend our afternoon shiny hunting for a shiny Nincada. Doesn't even evolve in the level cap, so we're not gonna get it for a little while anyways. We find ourselves a shiny Nincada, capture it and add it to our team, but we can't use it. That's why it's not in my party. However, from there we can go into the very first gym of the game. We can face off against Roxanne next. Roxanne's gonna be the rock type gym leader in the game. We're gonna start the battle off against her using my Sableye. Sableye is very close to level up. If I beat a Pokemon and gain some XP from the battle in the gym leader fight, it's fine. It's not breaking the level cap. I just have to be under the level cap. I'm able to beat down Geodude, even though it's gonna lower my speed multiple times. I'm still somehow faster than it. I'm able to Nightshade into it and to get a KO on Geodude, and then from there I'm able to Nightshade into the Nosepass. It doesn't outspeed me, as I'm able to just Nightshade into him, and then it's gonna Rock to me. It's gonna activate my Oran Berry, which I had just in case it started rolling my entire team, but we're able to knock out the Nosepass and eventually get our first gym badge of the game. Looking pretty good for us. There's not much for us to do right now, so we're actually going to Dewford City and just immediately go into the gym. We're gonna face up against Brawly next, and Brawly has actually no moves to attack me with except the Makuhita with knockoff. That's the only move that can hit me, so he's gonna switch into his Makuhita to start the battle. I'm able to hit him twice with Shadow Sneak. Since it's priority, I don't have any worries at all, so I'm able to knock out the Makuhita. I didn't have worries to beat him with anyways, but I'm able to knock out the Machop as well, as the Machops can go for layers. I'm able to Shadow Sneak once, do less than half, and then the following Shadow Sneak does more than half, which that's insane. That's an insane amount of roll damage, but we're able to beat down Brawly and get our second gym badge to the game. Looking pretty good for us. We can go into Slateport City, and there's something you want to pick up real quick. You want to talk to this little girl, and then you get yourself a Soft Scent, which will be pretty nice. That will boost up ground moves and will be useful in the 4th gym. But from there, we're going to face up against our rival. Our rival is going to be against May. Her team is pretty useless. I taught my Sableye Brock Tomb, so it does more damage because everything else has like 40 power at most. And Nightshade is set damage move that goes off my level, so it's obviously not doing too much. I gotta stop using Nightshade. Shadow Sneak does way more damage, and looking up, I'm able to beat down the Grovyle and finally evolve my Nincada in this route into a Ninjask. We can't use either one of them, but because we evolve them, we also get ourselves a Shedinja. Shedinja is gonna be part bug and part ghost type. It's gonna be like the shell of Nincada when it evolves, like a cicada, something like that. I think that's the lore of Nincadas. But anyways, from there we get our second team member of the game, and for what it's worth, Shedinja actually has some kind of role in this game, because we're gonna head into the 3rd gym of the game. We're gonna face up against Watson next. Watson's gonna be the electric gym of the game, and we're gonna start the battle off against him using my Shedinja. Shedinja can only be killed in 2 different ways in this gym, against the Voltorb's Rollout or the Magneton Supersonic, and those doing 2 ways. Firstly, we're gonna neutralize the first threat. We're gonna Shadow Sneak twice into the Voltorb as he switches out into the Voltorb, and we're able to knock out the Voltorb. First threat down. Then his next Pokemon will be the Magnemite. I do have a Cherry Berry on. I don't have a Cherry Berry on. I think I messed up. I think I put an Oran Berry on my Shedinja. so he's gonna get paralyzed, but I'm able to Shadow Sneak twice into the Magnemite and knock him out. His last Pokemon will be a Magneton, which I'm able to Shadow Sneak into him, and then he's gonna Supersonic me whenever he can. Shadow Sneak is priority, so I don't have to worry about getting confused and hitting myself in confusion. I can just switch out into my Sableye, which for some reason he used Volt Switch against me. As I switched out into my Sableye, he used Volt Switch, but either way, I'm able to do a lot of damage against the Magneton. He's gonna heal up eventually, and then I gotta repeat the process, but eventually I'm able to Shadow Sneak into him and get him down to low HP, and then switch out to my Shedinja, which will do enough with a Shadow Sneak, and I'm able to knock out Watson, and Shedinja does a lot of work here. Actually, the only time you'll see him be used that well. From there, we're going to get the TM for Dig, because that's going to be useful in the following gym fight. We're also going to beat down Maxie on the top of Mount Chimney, and then from there, we're going to face off against the 4th gym leader in the game. We're going to face off against Flannery next. Flannery is going to be the fire type gym leader in the game, and we're going to start the battle off against her using my Sableye, obviously. Sableye is going to Rock Tomb and knock out the Slugma, which is pretty free. From there, I do have the Soft Sand equipped, so I'm able to go for, okay, I don't know why I went for a knockup. I thought I had a White Herb, so I'm going to take an Overheat. Does over half, and then that looks pretty bad for me, but as long as it doesn't crit, I'm able to survive another one, as it just goes for a Sunny Day against me, as I'm able to dig twice into him and then knock out the Torkoal pretty easily. And then our following Pokemon will be a Numel, which isn't gonna do a lot of damage to me. I also learned a new move called Shadow Claw, which is gonna be very useful, but I'm able to dig in front of the Numel and one-shot it with my Soft Sand Dig. My Sableye is able to sweep down Flannery, and we're able to get the 4th gym badge of the game. From there, before we actually go back though, we're gonna get ourselves a Heart Scale in this location on the side of Petalburg City. And then we can go back and teach our Sableye Detect, which is going to be a useful move as we face off against the next gym leader in the game. We're going to face off against Norman next. Norman is a Norm type gym leader, and he's going to start the battle off against us using a Slaking, which I decided to go for a knockoff. He's going to yawn me, so I go out into my Shedinja. Maybe not the best play, because he's obviously going to go for a Feint Attack, so I got to switch back in. Bait in his Feint Attack, and then finally I have the right pattern now. Well, I messed up the pattern mode. For some reason, I didn't go for a Dig here. I went for a knockoff, and then I switched back into my Shedinja. He's gonna go for a yawn against me, and then I'm gonna switch out into my Sableye, which is able to get a knockoff against him again. He's gonna heal up finally, and I could finally start going for digs against him. Dig is a 2-turn move, so I'm gonna attack him every other turn, and he could only attack every other turn. So if you get it on the right pattern, you can actually activate Truant for him. You can easily knock out the Slaking just from that, and then from there, I'm not going to learn Confuse Ray. I'm going to face off against his Vigoroth next. I just got to use a few more digs against him. I also used an Oran Berry that I had equipped on Sableye, and then I'm able to knock out the Vigoroth with 3 digs. And then his next Pokemon will be his final Slaking, which I have Detect for. I'm able to detect the first turn and then finally get into the dig habit, which a few more digs, which it does take a few digs. I actually ran out of PP for digs, but I'm able to detect, block his attacks, and then go for knockoff every other turn. So I'm finally able to knock out his Slaking. Now I couldn't use Shedinja in this entire battle because all his Pokemon does have Feint Attack, so Shedinja again being useless. From there, I'm going to go out and get all the berries. I remember that berries were really good from my Sun and Moon run, but unfortunately, they didn't get their buffs, so these berries are actually completely useless. So all the Ipapa berries, the Wiki berries, they're all useless right now, so there's no point for me to get them. From there, I was going to go out and get myself my next Ghost-type Pokemon, but unfortunately, you can't actually go past this route before you beat Winona, which I didn't know about, so we had to go back and face off against Winona. Winona's not going to be too hard of a fight. I realized that Sableye actually gets Power Punch, so it's actually pretty useful. So I'm going to start the battle off against Winona using my Sableye, and I'm going to Rock Tomb into her Swellow to start the battle, and then I'm going to go for a Power Punch against her. She's going to obviously heal up, but with the Rock Tomb, I'm able to outspeed him. So I get 3 power punches off against her and then get +3 on my Sableye, which is insane. From there, she's going to switch out into her Altaria, which I'm going to go for a Rock Tomb. It doesn't paralyze me with Dragon Breath, lucky enough, so I'm able to knock her out in one shot using a Rock Tomb. Her next Pokemon will be a Skarmory, which I go for a Rock Tomb against her. She can go for a Steel Wing and get a crit on it, but lucky enough, I have an Ipapa Berry on it. But lucky enough, I have an Ipapa Berry on my Sableye, and it regains like 10 HP at max. I'm not too sure why I only regain 10 HP, but that's not a useful berry at all. From there, I'm going to Rock Tomb and knock out the Skarmory, and then her final Pokemon will be a Pelipper, which I'm able to just Rock Tomb, obviously one-shot it. And we get ourselves the 6th gym badge of the game, which is pretty easy, nothing too bad. From there, we can finally head into Route 125, and we can find ourselves our next Ghost-type Pokemon. Our next Ghost-type Pokemon available in this grass area only is going to be a Shuppet, which we want to do this on purpose. We want to go to Mount Pyre after this. We want to force the encounter for a shiny Shuppet, so we can't get it in Mount Pyre because of, obviously, dupes. So we get ourselves a shiny Shuppet. I don't know if Shuppet's good or not. I've never used Bayonet. I tried to use Bayonet when I was a kid. I never liked it, so I never used Bayonet that seriously. We catch ourselves a shiny Shuppet, and from there, we can head into Mount Pyre. I believe you can find Duskulls in the grass over here, but I don't think is the best encounter because there's so many different encounters in here. I decided to go back inside Mount Pyre itself and then start searching out for a shiny Duskull, and eventually we do find ourselves a shiny Duskull, though we're low in Pokeballs though, so we have to be very careful of how to catch this. Lucky enough, we're able to catch Duskull in 2 Pokeballs, which is nice, and then from there we're going to move on with the story and also get ourselves an Eviolite from this fisherman. It's going to be pretty useful. And then from there, we're going to face off against our rival at Lilycove City, which she's pretty easy. As you can see, even though we're under the level cap barely, she's also under it. So we're able to survive a dual chop easy. Sableye is very tanky for something that's not even Mega Evolved. We're also not using Megas. I didn't tell you guys that, but we're not using Megas. That's too powerful. I wanted to use Megas, but you know what? I refrained from doing it. We're going to beat our rival and then face off against 5 Poochyena, which this might be the hardest fight in the world because it takes so long since I don't have any spread moves. I could have went back and got Bodas for my Dusclops, but that would have taken even longer than just fighting all the Poochyena itself. So we can clear through the Poochyena and clear through the Magma base, which is pretty easy. From there, we can finally have access to Shoal Cave. Shoal Cave, 2 different areas. One is low tide, one's high tide. You want to go into Shoal Cave, one is low tide, so you have access into the ice area. And once you're in the ice area, you're able to find yourselves a Snorunt. We're going to search out here for a shiny Snorunt. Lucky enough, we do get ourselves a shiny Snorunt, which is going to be female as well. I cheated. I re-rolled it. I got a shiny male Snorunt the first time, but I just didn't want to show you guys. We got a shiny female Snorunt on our very first try, obviously. And then from there, we're able to evolve our Snorunt into a Froslass. That's different of a shiny Pokemon, I'm not gonna lie. From there, we're gonna face off against the 7th gym leader in the game. We're gonna face off against Tate and Liza. I'm not sure why it's Liza and Tate on the bottom right. That doesn't sound right. It's Tate and Liza. Anyways, we can start the battle off against them using my Bayonet and also my Dusclops. Bayonet's gonna Shadow Claw into the Solrock and one-shot it, and then my Dusclops does not even come close to knock out the Lunatone with a Shadow Punch. So that should have been a sign to me that Dusclops is not going to be great offensively. But from there, we're able to beat Tate and Liza pretty easily, get the 7th gym badge of the game, and then face off against Maxie. This fight is going to be a little harder than him, as we're going to start the battle off against his Mightyena using my Bayonet to Will-O-Wisp into him, lowers attack stat, and then switch out into my Froslass. I kind of like Frost Breath more than Ice Beam. I know it's actually less power, but it's actually more enjoyable to watch because it actually crits, so I'm going to keep Frost Breath on my Froslass, as I'm able to Frost Breath into his Crobat, knock him out. Frost Pressing into everything, Shadow Ball into his Weezing to knock him out, and then I couldn't switch out here. I couldn't risk the camera of just knocking out something with Earth Power, so I was pretty sure I was able to survive anything. It went for a yawn anyways. I'm able to Frost Breath into him and then knock him out, so we end up beating Maxie, and you know, that was pretty easy. From there, we're going to face off against Primal next. I went into facing off against Primal with a plan. I started the battle off against him using my Eviolite Dusclops, which that's obviously why I got the Eviolite, but I'm able to Earthquake into him, survive our Precipice Blades, which I don't survive too well, but I could survive 2 of them, and unfortunately, I do not enough damage against him. From there, I went for a Confuse Ray because I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh, this was not in the plans. Luckily enough, he went for a rest, so he actually went to sleep. I'm able to Curse into him, and then I get a Curse off again, and then from there, I can switch out to my Sableye, which I know could survive at least 1 hit. I'm able to Rock Tomb into him. He's getting Earthquake into me, which is a lot of power, but now I just have to guess right. If he goes for any other move besides Lava Plume, Shedinja could survive, but I was going to go for Bayonet because I'm pretty sure Bayonet can survive anything besides the Precipice Blade, so I have to guess right. I decided to go out to my Bayonet instead. He snaps out of confusion, he hits me with a Lava Plume, and he survives just barely with the Lava Plume. So lucky enough, I didn't go out to my Shedinja or my Froslass, so I'm able to survive against the Primal Groudon and keep all my Pokemon from that battle. And then from there, we can face off against Wallace next. Wallace is going to be the 8th gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against Wallace using my Sableye. And Sableye's going to go for Pyro Punches against the Love This. Unfortunately, he's getting attract, and then it's going to get lost and it's confused, and I don't want to deal with this. So I decided to go out to my Froslass next. Froslass is able to Shadow Ball and knock out the Love This. His next Pokemon is going to be a Milotic, which I could go for a Shadow Ball. It's not doing a lot of damage against him. Actually, it's building up slowly. I'm able to eventually get a special defense drop, and a Shadow Ball will knock out the Milotic in 2 shots. But my Froslass is actually at low HP, so I decided to go out into my Shedinja next because the entirety of Wallace's team cannot hit Shedinja at all, and I forgot to push Shadow Claw on my Shedinja, so you're gonna have to watch this entire thing where I use Shadow Sneak the entire battle. So I'm able to knock out the Whiscash with a bunch of Shadow Sneak. Looking up, Shadow Sneak has 30 PP, so I'm able to just keep Shadow Sneaking in front of all his Pokemon, and then eventually knock out a Seaking with 3 Shadow Sneak, as I'm able to get the 8th gym badge in the game, and then move on into Evergrande City, and then head into Victory Road, clear through Victory Road, and clear through our rival, and then head into the Elite Four itself. So the Elite Four is going to be a bit more challenging than I thought, because the first Elite Four member we're going to face off against is going to be Sydney. Sydney's going to be the Dark type Elite Four member of the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Bayonet. Bayonet's gonna go for a Will-O-Wisp immediately into him as he goes for a Sucker Punch. Lucky enough, he doesn't land that. And then I'm able to go out into my Sableye next. Sableye is able to Power Punch into his Mightyena. Unfortunately, he's gonna get a Swagger off against me, and then, you know what, I risked it. I went for a Power Punch again. Looking enough, I break through Confusion. I'm able to Power Punch, one-shot his Mightyena, which I wasn't going for. I wanted to break through Confusion. He then goes out to his Shift Tree. He goes for a Leaf Lead, does a lot of damage to me. Lucky enough, I survive and break through my Confusion, Power Punch into the Shift Tree to knock him out. And then his next Pokemon will be a Sharpedo. I said, you know what, let's just risk it. He's getting Crunch into me. I activate my Citrus Berry. I'm able to get through the Confusion, and then I'm able to Power Punch into the Sharpedo and knock him out. Now I don't want to risk it because obviously Absol is able to outspeed and knock me out. I decided to go out into my Dusclops, take a critical Night Slash. Not a good sign. From there, I'm able to take another Night Slash. Lucky enough, it wasn't a crit. And I'm able to Will-O-Wisp into the Absol and then switch out to my Bayonet next. Bayonet survives a Night Slash, not too comfortably, but I have a Citrus Berry on him as well. From there, I could just go for a Shadow Claw against him. 2 Shadow Claws would knock him out, but unfortunately, he gets a crit on his Night Slash. And now he's at full HP with a full restore. So I decided to just risk it and go out to my Froslass next. I go, lucky enough, he does not get a crit with his Night Slash. And I'm able to survive it with my Froslass. And then Froslass was getting Frost Breath into his Absol and also his Cacturne. And lucky enough, I am able to knock out Sydney. But that got very close. that got way closer than I wanted. From there, we're going to face off against Phoebe next. Phoebe is going to be the second Elite Four member and also the Ghost type Elite Four member. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Sableye. I'm able to Shadow Claw into her Dusclops, and then it's going to curse itself, and then it's going to knock itself out. So that works out. I don't know why I went for a knockoff, but I went for a knockoff against her. The curse almost knocks me out with a foul play, so that looks pretty bad for me, but I'm able to switch out into my Dusclops against. I'm able to take a foul play pretty easily and then Will-O-Wisp and then rest up. Do I rest up? No, I just basically let my Dusclops go out and die, so that's 2 bad plays. Now I only have like 2 more Pokemon left. I go out to my own Bayonet against her Bayonet, which I take a Shadow Ball, not too well, but I have another Citrus Berry up. Shadow Claw will one-shot the Bayonet, which is nice, and then her next Pokemon will be another Bayonet. I'm able to Shadow Claw that thing as well, and then her final Pokemon will be a Dusknoir, which I couldn't get a Dusknoir because obviously I can't trade my evolution, whatever, but I'm able to land a Will-O-Wisp against Dusknoir, and for some reason it has Hex as a move instead of, I don't know, Shadow Punch. Would have done more damage as Shadow Punch. It has all the other elemental punches. I don't know why it doesn't have Shadow Punch, but from there I'm gonna go out to my Froslass. I easily take a Hex from it because it has poor special attack, and I'm able to Shadow Ball, one-shot it, and we end up beating Dusknoir, and we end up beating Phoebe. From there, we're going to face off against Glacia next. Glacia is going to be the Ice type Elite Four member of the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Sableye. Sableye is going to go for a Rock Tomb against her Glalie and then just Power Punch everything down. I'm able to knock out the Glalie with 2 more Power Punches as it heals up as well. Her next Pokemon is going to be a Froslass, which unfortunately it hits me with a Blizzard because it's always going to be accurate and also does a lot of damage to me. But lucky enough, Rock Tomb would knock her out, which is nice. And then her next Pokemon will be another Froslass, which, you know, kind of lazy to keep repeating the same Pokemon, but whatever. I switch out to my own Froslass, which is going to take a Blizzard pretty easily, and then Shadow Ball in revenge to knock out the Froslass, which is nice. Her next Pokemon is going to be a Walrein, which I played this pretty badly. I went for Confuse Rays and a Shadow Ball and then let my Froslass go down low HP. I even went for a Frost Breath. So I decided to go out to my Bayonet next and also do the same thing and just waste a bunch of turns and then do nothing. So I wasn't doing anything productive at all. I go out into my Dusclops finally. I'm able to get a Toxic off against him, so it's badly poisoned. And I'm able to Shadow Punch and then eventually rest on the Walrein to eventually knock him out. And then her final Pokemon will be a Glalie, which doesn't Mega Evolve, which I'm thankful for, and she's unable to do anything against me. I'm able to go for a Toxic, get it badly poisoned, and then just waste some turns. Shadow Punch eventually will knock her out as she is done. We're able to beat down Glacia pretty easily, and then the next Elite Four member will be the final one before the champion. We're going to face off against Drake next. Drake's going to be the Dragon type Elite Four member of the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Froslass to Frost Breath into his Altaria. Knock him out in one shot. The Flygon comes out next. I outspeed. Knock him out in one shot. I was like, this is a great move. I can't believe what's the downside of this? It could miss. Why can't it miss? And I missed my Frost Breath against the most important Pokemon. I missed it against Salamence. Luckily enough, it doesn't matter as I'm able to survive a crunch against him. And I'm able to land the second Frost Breath, which will obviously one-shot him easily. And then his next Pokemon will be another Flygon. I knocked that thing out. And then his last Pokemon will be a Kingdra, which I go out into my Dusclops, go for a Toxic against him. He does a lot of damage to me. It takes a little while because it gets me down to low HP. I get that thing down to low HP, and then I gotta rest up, and then he's gonna heal up with a full restore. It does it 2 more times, and then finally on the 3rd try, we're able to Toxic, and then finally knock out the Kingdra at full HP. And from there, we're able to beat down Drake and then move on into the champion room. We're able to face off against the champion next. We're able to face off against Steven Stone. Steven Stone's can be the Steel Type Elite 4 member of the game and also the champion of Hoenn. We did some changes before this battle. We actually changed Dusclops into a special attacker. We gave a Calm Mind instead of Toxic because obviously Toxic's not going to be useful in this fight. We're able to start the battle off against Skarmory using my Frost Blast. We're able to Shadow Ball twice into a Skarmory to knock him out. Pretty easy. And then his next Pokemon is going to be an Aggron, which I switched out hard into my Bayonet. Does not take a Stone Edge pretty well at all, so that was bad play. But from there, as long as it doesn't creep me, I'm able to burn it with Will-O-Wisp and then take an Iron Tail and then switch out into my Sableye. It's going to Power Punch into the Aggron, eventually knock him out, which is pretty nice. And his next Pokemon is going to be a Claydol, which I want specifically, so I can switch out to my Dusclops next. Dusclops can take an Earth Power as much as he wants. Also, I have Rest, so I can take all the moves. I'm gonna Calm Mind in a total of 6 times in front of the Claydol, and then eventually he's gonna set up Light Screen. I gotta waste some more turns now. I go to sleep, and then eventually when I wake up, the Claydol takes a Shadow Ball at +6. Somehow it takes a Shadow Ball. I'm +6 boosted up. Dusclops not able to one-shot a Claydol. I know it is Light Screen up, obviously, but even then, it should knock him out. I'm able to waste enough turns, and I'm able to knock out the Claydol with a Shadow Ball, and then his next Pokemon will be a Cradily. I shouldn't have done this. I went for a Rest in front of the Cradily. You know, he couldn't do anything to me. He has Ancient Power, Giga Drain, and Toxic. Can't do too much to me, as I'm able to wake up and Shadow Ball into him. He survives it as well. And that is powerful. That Cradily is powerful. But a second will knock him out. And then his next Pokemon will be an Armaldo, which I survive and execute pretty easily. And then Shadow Ball to knock out his Armaldo. And his next Pokemon will be his Mega Metagross, which will go for a Meteor Mash against me. It does a lot of damage, surprisingly, and get an attack raise. But since I'm +6 and Shadow Ball is super effective to him, I'm able to Shadow Ball and one-shot the Metagross and end up the challenge with 0 deaths completely. We didn't get a single death. I know we didn't use Shedinja at all, but if I send out my Shedinja at any point, it's probably going to go down. But surprisingly, we beat the entire game of Pokemon Omega Ruby without a single death in this Hardcore Nuzlocke. Does it make sense that I'm using Ghost types in the middle of December? No, it doesn't. But the challenge still works. It was a pretty fun video. I used a lot of Sableye. Sableye was actually fun to use, and I figured out a way to always have a flawless run. Just use a bunch of stall Pokemon. Dusclops, I had no worries at all. As long as like 3 things don't go wrong in like a consecutive 3 turns, you should be fine using stall in single player mode. But anyways, that would be the end of my video. I hope you guys all enjoyed this. And if you guys can, please leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays for everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day and watching my videos. I hope you guys all had the greatest time if you guys do celebrate the holidays. Anyways, my name is Manalfo. Hope you guys all had a great day, and I'm out. Peace.